We seek intelligence in books and titles, yet a forgotten wisdom lies within, a strength found not in force, but in flow. It is the silent, profound intelligence of life itself. The final insight I will share is a principle few understand, yet it contains the key to unlocking your true potential. To grasp it, you must join me on the entire journey. Do not miss the end. Receptive stillness. Let us begin with a question. When you think of intelligence, what picture comes to mind? For many, it is an image of activity, a mind working quickly, solving, calculating, speaking, debating. It is the sharpness of a blade, the speed of a processor. This is one form of intelligence, yes. It is the intelligence of the sun radiating outwards with great force. But there is another kind of intelligence, one that is often overlooked in our fast and loud world. It is the intelligence of the moon, which does not generate its own light, but perfectly reflects the light it is given. It is the intelligence of a deep, still lake, which can hold a perfect image of the vast sky above. This is the wisdom of receptive stillness. This is a form of intelligence that is not defined by what it projects, but by what it can receive. To understand this, we must first understand the nature of our own mind. For most of us, the mind is not a still lake. It is a turbulent ocean, tossed by the winds of thought, desire, fear, and memory. The waves are constant. A thought about the future crashes into a worry from the past. A judgment about another person rises and falls. In this state of constant agitation, what can the mind truly perceive? It can only perceive its own disturbance. It sees a distorted, fragmented reflection of reality, like the shattered image of the sky in a stormy sea. It cannot see clearly. So, the first practice of this deeper intelligence is the cultivation of inner silence. This does not mean an empty mind. That is a misunderstanding. It means creating space between your thoughts. It is the practice of becoming the observer of the activity within you rather than being swept away by it. When you sit in silence, even for a few minutes, you begin to notice the chaos. At first, this can be frightening. We are so used to the noise that the silence feels empty, even dangerous. But if you persist, something remarkable begins to happen. The waves of thought begin to settle, the water becomes calmer, and in that calmness, clarity arises. This receptivity is a profound strength. Imagine you are in a difficult conversation. If your mind is agitated, full of your own need to be right, your own arguments, your own defenses, can you truly hear what the other person is saying? Or are you simply waiting for your turn to speak? The truly intelligent individual in this situation is the one who can become still, who can listen not just to the words, but to the emotion behind the words, to the pain, or the fear, or the hope that is being expressed. To receive this information requires an immense openness, a vulnerability that our society often mistakes for weakness. It is not. It is the source of true understanding and connection. This stillness is the foundation upon which wisdom is built. It is not a passive state. It is a highly active and courageous state of being present. It is the choice to stop the endless inner monologue and simply be here, now, open to what is. From this place, intuition can speak. Intuition is not some magical force. It is the summary of all your unconscious observations. It is the quiet wisdom that emerges when the conscious mind gets out of the way. The noisy, agitated mind cannot hear the subtle whispers of intuition, but the still mind, the receptive mind, can hear it with perfect clarity. It is the compass that guides you from a place of deep knowing rather than reactive fear. When we speak of the habits of a highly intelligent woman or any deeply wise being, we must not start with actions like reading a certain number of books or waking at a certain hour. These are external forms. The true habit, the essential practice, is internal. It is the daily, moment-to-moment cultivation of a mind that is clear, open, and receptive. It is the discipline to return to stillness again and again. You can practice this anywhere. While drinking a cup of tea, feel the warmth of the cup. Taste the liquid. Be fully present with that experience. While walking, feel your feet on the ground. This is the practice. It is simple, yet it is profound. It is the path to becoming the still lake, capable of reflecting the entire universe. The world will continue to praise the loud and the fast. It will celebrate the one who speaks first, who has the quickest answer. Let it. Your path is different. Your path is the cultivation of a depth that the world cannot easily measure. It is the quiet power of a tree whose roots run deep into the earth. The strength is not visible in the swaying branches, but in the unseen foundation. This receptive stillness is your root system. It is what nourishes you, what stabilizes you, what allows you to perceive the truth of a situation beyond the surface level noise. It is the first and most essential quality of a mind that is not just clever, but truly wise. Flexible strength. Once we have found a degree of stillness within, the next challenge presents itself. The world is not still. It is a place of constant change, of storms, of pressures. Life will push against you. How do you respond? Here we encounter another quality of profound intelligence, which is flexible strength. This stands in direct contrast to the common ideal of strength as rigidity, as being unbending and unbreakable. We think of the strong person as the mighty oak tree, standing firm against the wind, refusing to yield. But what happens to the mighty oak in a great storm? Its branches, because they are so rigid, are the first to snap. Its trunk, if the wind is strong enough, can be broken in two. It resists, and in its resistance, it is destroyed. Now consider the bamboo. The bamboo is slender, it appears almost fragile. Yet when the storm comes, the bamboo bends. It yields to the force of the wind, sometimes bowing so low that its top touches the very ground. It does not fight the storm, it dances with it. And when the storm has passed, the bamboo straightens itself again, unharmed. Which one is truly stronger? The rigid oak that breaks or the flexible bamboo that endures? This is a metaphor for the mind. An intelligent mind is not one that rigidly clings to its beliefs, its plans, or its identity. A truly intelligent mind is like the bamboo. It has the strength to bend without breaking. This flexibility requires a deep letting go of the ego. The ego is what wants to be right. The ego is what says, I know this for certain. This is how things must be. I will not change my mind. The ego is the rigid oak. When reality presents evidence that contradicts our beliefs, the egoic mind feels attacked. It becomes defensive. It denies, it argues, it fights. It would rather break than admit it was wrong. This is not a sign of intelligence. It is a sign of fear. It is the fear of losing our sense of self, which we have mistakenly attached to our ideas and opinions. But you are not your opinions. You are the consciousness that is aware of them. The practice of flexible strength is the practice of adaptability. It is seeing every challenge not as a threat, but as an invitation to learn and grow. When a plan fails, the rigid mind despairs. It is all ruined, it says. The flexible mind asks, what can I learn from this? What new path has now opened up? When someone criticizes you, the rigid mind feels anger and hurt. The flexible mind asks, is there any truth in this? What is this person's perspective showing me about myself that I could not see? This is not about agreeing with everything or having no convictions. It is about holding your convictions lightly. It is about being committed to the truth more than you are committed to being right. This requires great inner stability, which is born from the stillness we have already discussed. Only from a centered place can you afford to be flexible. If your core is weak, then any bending feels like breaking. But if you have cultivated your inner stillness, your root system, you know that you can bend in any direction and still return to your center. This is the integration of yin and yang. The stillness and receptivity is the yin. The flexible strength and adaptability is the yang. They are not opposites. They are two sides of the same coin. True wisdom holds them in perfect balance. Think of water. Water is the softest thing in the world, yet it can overcome the hardest. It has no fixed form. It takes the shape of whatever contains it. If you try to punch it, you cannot harm it. If you try to cut it with a sword, it simply yields and comes back together again. This is the nature of a mind that has mastered flexible strength. It is fluid. It does not crash against obstacles. It flows around them. It is persistent, not through brute force as a hammer against a rock, but through gentle, relentless application as a river carving a canyon over centuries. To cultivate this, you must practice letting go in your daily life. Let go of the need to have the last word. Let go of your attachment to your schedule when something unexpected happens. Let go of your image of how your life should be and learn to embrace what it is. Each time you do this, you are training your mind like an athlete training their body. You are increasing your capacity for resilience. You are teaching yourself that your security does not come from the world outside conforming to your wishes. Your security comes from your inner ability to adapt to the world as it is. This is not weakness. This is the most profound and enduring form of power. This is true intelligence in action. Nurturing clarity. Having explored the foundational states of stillness and flexibility, we must ask a practical question. How are these states sustained? They are not accidents. They do not arise from mere wishful thinking. They are the result of a deliberate and continuous process. They are the result of nurturing clarity. Imagine a garden. If you want beautiful flowers and healthy fruit to grow, you cannot simply throw seeds on the ground and hope for the best. You must prepare the soil. You must provide water and sunlight. And, perhaps most importantly, you must pull the weeds. The weeds will always grow. They are relentless. If left unchecked, they will choke the life from the plants you wish to cultivate. Our mind is this garden. The beautiful flowers are states of peace, wisdom, compassion, and joy. The weeds are the distractions, the negative thought patterns, the useless information, the endless anxieties that drain our energy and obscure our vision. Nurturing clarity is the active, daily practice of tending to this inner garden. It is the discipline of distinguishing between what is essential and what is non-essential, and having the courage to discard the latter. It is the art of simplification, not as a form of deprivation, but as a path to abundance of what truly matters. This practice takes many forms. It is about what you consume. Just as the food you eat builds your physical body, the information you consume builds your mind. Are you feeding your mind with a constant diet of fear, outrage, and gossip from the news and social media? Or are you mindfully choosing to consume content that inspires you, educates you, and uplifts your spirit? An intelligent mind is not a trash can for every piece of data that flies by. It is a curated library. Be a ruthless guardian at the gates of your mind. Ask of everything that seeks entry. Is this useful? Is this true? Is this kind? Does this serve my growth? If the answer is no, have the discipline to turn it away. This discipline extends to your physical environment. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. If your home, your desk, your personal space is cluttered and chaotic, it will be very difficult to cultivate clarity and peace within. The act of cleaning and organizing your physical space is a form of meditation. As you discard old objects that you no longer need, you are simultaneously making space in your mind. As you create order on your desk, you are reinforcing the desire for order in your thoughts. The environment does not have to be luxurious. It must be intentional. It should be a sanctuary that supports your intention for a clear mind, not a battlefield of distraction. Furthermore, nurturing clarity involves the structure of your day. So often we drift through our time, reacting to whatever comes our way. The emails, the notifications, the demands of others. A life lived this way is not your own. It belongs to the whims of the world. The practice of nurturing clarity is to bring conscious intention to your time. This can be as simple as deciding, the night before, the one or two most important things you wish to accomplish. It is about creating boundaries, carving out time for silence, carving out time for deep work, carving out time for rest and recovery. This structure is not a prison. It is a trellis that allows the vine of your life to grow upwards towards the light rather than sprawling directionless on the ground. The most challenging part of this practice is weeding the garden of the mind itself. This is the work of self-awareness. It is learning to recognize the recurring negative thought patterns, the weeds of self-doubt, of judgment, of resentment. At first, you simply notice them. Ah, there is the weed of worry again. You do not fight it. You do not judge yourself for having it. You simply see it for what it is, a weed. You acknowledge its presence, and then you gently turn your attention back to the flowers, back to your breath, back to the present moment. Over time, as you stop watering the weeds with your attention, their power diminishes. As you continue to water the flowers of peace and wisdom, they begin to flourish. This is an ongoing process. There is no final destination where the garden is perfect and no weeds ever grow again. The practice is the destination. The intelligence is not in having a permanently clear mind, but in knowing how to return to clarity when it is lost. It is the skill of patiently and lovingly tending to your own consciousness day after day. This is an act of profound self-respect. It is the understanding that your attention is your most precious resource, and you must allocate it with wisdom. This dedication to inner and outer simplicity is what allows the brilliance of your true nature to shine through the fog. Profound connection. Now we move from the inner world of the self to the relationship with the world outside. A common misconception of wisdom is that it is a solitary pursuit, achieved on a remote mountaintop, isolated from the messiness of human relationships. While solitude is a powerful tool for cultivating clarity, true intelligence is not complete until it is integrated into the fabric of life. It must be tested, expressed, and refined through our interactions with others. This brings us to the quality of profound connection and intelligence of the heart. This is not about networking. It is not about collecting contacts or building a social following. That is a transactional approach to relationships based on the question, what can I get? Profound connection is based on a much deeper question. What can I understand? It is rooted in the recognition of a fundamental truth of our existence. We are all interconnected. The idea that you are a separate, isolated self is an illusion created by the ego. In reality, your joy impacts me, and my suffering impacts you. We are not islands. We are waves in the same ocean. An intelligent mind does not just grasp this intellectually, it feels it in its very core. The primary skill for developing profound connection is empathy. Empathy is the ability to step outside of your own perspective and genuinely try to experience the world from another person's point of view. It is the capacity to feel with them, not just feel for them. This is one of the most difficult and courageous acts a human being can undertake. It requires you to temporarily suspend your own judgments, your own story, your own needs, and create a space within yourself to hold another person's reality. It is an extension of the receptive stillness we first discussed. You become a still lake, not just for the sky, but for another soul. When you can truly listen to someone with empathy, you are giving them a rare and precious gift. You are telling them, I see you, I hear you, you matter. In that space of being seen, people can heal. In that space of connection, conflict can dissolve. So much of the conflict in our world comes from a simple failure of empathy. We are so trapped in our own righteous viewpoints that we demonize those who disagree with us. We see them not as complex human beings with their own fears and hopes, but as one-dimensional enemies. The intelligent mind pierces through this illusion. It seeks to understand the humanity in everyone, even those with whom it profoundly disagrees. This connection extends beyond human beings. It is a connection to all of life. It is the feeling of reverence you have when you see a 1,000-year-old tree. It is the sense of wonder you feel when you look at the stars. It is the compassion that arises when you see an animal in pain. This is a sign that your awareness is expanding beyond the narrow confines of your own ego. You begin to see yourself as part of a vast, intricate, and sacred web of existence. And with this realization comes a profound sense of responsibility. You understand that your actions have consequences that ripple out into the world, and you strive to act in a way that is harmonious and beneficial for the whole. To cultivate this, you must practice seeing the world through the eyes of connection. When you interact with a cashier at the store, see them not as a function, but as a person with a life as complex and important as your own. When you read about a crisis in a distant country, try to imagine the lives of the people involved. When you walk in nature, try to feel your relationship with the earth beneath your feet and the air you breathe. This is not just a sentimental exercise. It is a cognitive and emotional shift. It is the shift from me to we. An intelligence that is sharp but lacks compassion is a dangerous thing. It can be used to exploit, to manipulate, to dominate. It is a cold and lifeless instrument. But an intelligence that is married to a compassionate and connected heart becomes wisdom. It is warm, it is generative, it is healing. It seeks not to win, but to uplift. It seeks not to be right, but to create harmony. This is the intelligence that our world desperately needs. It is the profound strength that comes not from standing apart, but from standing together with a deep and abiding love for all of life. Transforming energy. We now arrive at the final principle, the capstone of this entire structure. We have cultivated stillness to see clearly, developed flexibility to adapt, to change, nurtured clarity to focus on the essential, and opened our hearts to profound connection. But what do we do when faced with the unavoidable realities of life? Pain, suffering, loss, and our own inner darkness. This is the ultimate test, and the highest form of intelligence lies in the ability not just to endure these experiences, but to transform them. This is the art of transforming energy. Every experience, every emotion is a form of energy. Joy, love, and inspiration are energies that feel good. We welcome them. Fear, anger, grief, and shame are energies that feel bad. We resist them. We push them away, suppress them, numb them. We see them as enemies to be defeated. But this is a misunderstanding of their nature. They are not enemies. They are simply energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. The wise person does not try to get rid of their pain. They learn to use it as fuel. This is a form of inner alchemy. The ancient alchemists sought to turn base metals like lead into gold. This was a metaphor for a spiritual process. The lead is our raw, unrefined, painful experience. The shame, the trauma, the heartbreak. The gold is wisdom, compassion, and inner peace. The transformative process is the fire of conscious awareness. When you can bring your calm, steady, non-judgmental attention, your receptive stillness to a painful emotion, you are applying this fire. You are not running from the feeling, you are meeting it, you are holding it in the embrace of your awareness. When you do this, something magical happens. The energy of the emotion begins to change. The sharp edges of anger can soften into a deep understanding of violated boundaries and a passion for justice. The crushing weight of grief can hollow you out in a way that makes you vastly more capable of compassion and love. The fire of shame can be transformed into the humble ground of self-acceptance and a powerful desire to live with integrity. The lead of your suffering is not discarded. It is transmuted into the gold of your greatest strength. The wound becomes the source of your greatest gift. This is the ultimate creative act. It is taking the ugliest, most difficult parts of your life and using them as the raw material to create a more beautiful and powerful version of yourself. This requires immense courage. It is far easier to stay numb, to distract yourself, to blame others for your pain. It is the hardest work there is to turn inwards and face your own demons. But the highly intelligent individual understands that the only way out is through. They know that everything they are running from is actually a storehouse of trapped energy and potential power. So the practice is this: when a difficult emotion arises, do not immediately react. Do not distract yourself. Pause. Turn inwards. Locate the feeling in your body. Is it a tightness in your chest? A burning in your stomach? A knot in your throat? Breathe into that sensation. Do not label it as bad. Just be with it as pure physical energy. Hold it with curiosity and with kindness as you would hold a frightened child. This act of courageous presence is the alchemical fire. It slowly, gently transforms the energy from a destructive force into a constructive one. This is the meaning of true freedom. Freedom is not a life without problems. Freedom is the ability to face any problem, internal or external, and have the inner resources to work with its energy constructively. This is the pinnacle of the intelligence we have been discussing. It is the active, dynamic application of stillness, flexibility, clarity, and connection. It is the ultimate expression of human potential. It is the knowledge that nothing that happens to you can destroy you, because you have the power to transform it into a building block for your own evolution. This is the secret hidden in plain sight. your greatest challenges are your greatest opportunities. The path is not about becoming perfect. It is not about eliminating all pain or darkness from your life. The path is about becoming whole. It is about integrating every single part of your experience, the light and the shadow, into a more wise, compassionate, and powerful human being. This is the work of a lifetime, and it is the most meaningful work you will ever do. It is how you turn a life of ordinary experience into a masterpiece of conscious creation. This journey, from the silent depths of receptive stillness to the fiery heart of transformation, is the cultivation of true wisdom. It is a path of courage, discipline, and profound love for the truth of what you are. It is not a knowledge that lives in the head, but an intelligence that animates your entire being, creating a life not of mere success, but of deep and resonant meaning. This is one of those videos that doesn't just give you information, it changes your inner state while you watch it. The idea of transforming energy instead of fighting my negative emotions literally stopped me in my tracks. I've spent my whole life trying to fix or get rid of my anxiety. What would it even look like to just sit with it, to see it as fuel? Has anyone else actually tried this? It feels both terrifying and like the only real answer.